intelligence probably isn't the right word for what we're trying to describe.
Why am I talking? It's unlikely you even understand.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 video games with the worst AI.
Don't you move now, cherry pie.
For this list, we ranked the most annoying AI in video games, whether it's because they're too hard, too easy, or just plain dumb.
Chill, dude, I'm coming.
We decided to exclude 8 and 16-bit games since those can be forgiven due to the technical limitations of the time. And finally, while we're still doing one game per franchise, we decided to allow a whole series of games in one entry if the AI never gets any better. Number 10, Halo series. Yes, we have tons of fans of this series in the office, but the Marines drive us all nuts. Even though they're supposed to be on your side, they can barely shoot their guns to help you out, and they seem like they're begging to be destroyed by your enemies. And please don't think about asking them to drive a Warthog or a tank, because, well, you're probably going to be there for a while. Number 9, Rogue Warrior. Do you usually have trouble taking down your opponents with grenades? If so, this may be the game for you, because your enemies will normally just stand there and let themselves get blown up when you throw explosives at them. They're not particularly observant either. The other guy never seems to notice that anything's happened to his buddy, who was right next to him a second ago.
Happy 4th of July, motherfuckers.
Number 8, StarCraft. You can have a lot of fun ordering your troops around in this game, but rarely when you have to order them through choke points. When you try to get large groups of ground units up cliffs, they tend to block access to the entrances and let enemies take them out one by one. Apparently, the Protoss are great at designing walking crab tanks that can teleport across the galaxy to wage war, but damned if they can figure out how to get through tight spaces in single file. Number 7, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
You complete moron.
For such a defining franchise, the games really have some awful AI, and San Andreas is the worst offender. Despite supposedly being loyal to you, your fellow gang members often won't help you out. The cops themselves aren't much better, since they have no qualms about standing around and waiting for you to fire at them. But worse are the firefighters, who seem to have flunked out of driving school and were still put behind the wheel. Number 6, Dead Rising.
Good. All right.
You'd think that the zombie apocalypse would be cause for alarm, but you wouldn't know it from the way the survivors in this game behave.
Fantastic.
You're tasked with escorting some of them to safety, which would be hard enough if they were cooperating with you fully, since you're surrounded by hordes of undead. Unfortunately, they prefer to do stupid things like get stuck on water fountains, or sometimes just attack you, for fun.
I really owe you one.
Number 5, Fallout series. Where do we even begin with this series? Well, in the first game, your allies don't seem too intent on helping you. They shoot you in the back whenever they get the chance, and they're also fond of trapping you against walls so you can't keep playing. Not only that, but talking to some NPCs can be weird.
It is bad. Vault is good. Please, go destroy bad place.
And in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, all the NPCs seem to have no sense of self-preservation, or in this case, a sense of anyone else around them. Number 4, Daikatana. John Romero is one of the most legendary designers in video game history, being one of the creative minds behind classics like Doom and Quake. But he failed spectacularly with this FPS title, and the AI is one of its worst aspects. Sidekick Superfly, the stereotype Johnson, loves to get in your way by standing in your line of fire, and damsel in distress Mikiko seems to want to stay in distress, based on her reluctance to pick up health and weapons.
On my way. I can't get it.
Number 3, Resident Evil 5. The first time you play single player, your ally Sheva will drive you nuts because she's such a liability. She doesn't seem to care much about defeating the enemies because she tends to walk into your line of fire, or worse, over tripwires. And often she uses the wrong weapons against bosses and will always waste healing items on minor wounds.
We'll never win like this. Time to change tactics.
What's even worse, on top of all that, if she dies, it's game over. Because of her stupidity, playing this game co-op is pretty much mandatory. Number 2, Aliens, Colonial Marines. You'd think that xenomorphs would be terrifying to take on. There are a bunch of them, but they don't gang up to take you out or sneak up on you. They seem content to just run straight at you to get picked off. In some cases, their AI is so chaotic that it looks sort of like they're dancing. Your allies aren't much help either, sometimes getting stuck in doors, getting stuck in your way, or, just firing their guns at walls. Before we get to our number 1, let's take a look at some dishonorable mentions.
Just leave me in peace, please!
Number 1, Ride to Hell, Retribution.
Conway! Jake, on your feet. It's time.
No AI sucked more than what we saw in this title. So much so that it had to make it onto our worst games of all time list.
Shit.
The simplistic hand-to-hand combat only allows you to punch, kick, block, or break blocks. But you won't need anything worse against your enemies because they never put up much of a threat. Shooting isn't much better because aiming is nearly impossible. But again, the AI enemies are pretty much suicidal, since they have no idea how cover works and either run straight into your line of fire or right into a corner. Do you agree with our list? Which video game AI do you think would be eligible for a Darwin Award?
No!
For more artificially intelligent top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.